Hello everyone, this is Akram Mansoor. This is my first video on YouTube. So before getting into the topic, let me introduce myself. I work as a network and security engineer for an MNC here in the UAE. So I have got around 8 years of hands-on experience working with the Fortinet, Cisco, Dell, HP, and also the Microsoft Azure cloud. So right now I manage network and security across multiple locations for my company. So my main expertise is in routing, switching, and the network security, especially in the Fortinet firewall and also the Cisco ICE. So this video is part of the FortiGate training series I am working on from beginning to the expert level. So today I'll be walking you through the FortiGate interfaces, the different type and how to use them. So I have set up a lab in the GNS3 so we can follow along practical. So in the future videos, I'll dive deeper into how the FortiGate works, so how to get the most out of it, and I'll also cover the integration, which is very important with the Cisco ICE and the Active Directory. So okay, so and also level of deep level of troubleshooting of FortiGate firewall. So this is, I believe, is enough. And if you are not from the technical background and this video sounds too detailed, that's totally okay. But if you know someone who want to start their career in networking or the cyber security, so feel free to share this video with them. So that's a bit about me. Let's get into it. Okay. Okay, so let me set up a small lab for the session. I didn't want to start with a complex setup or the big diagram, just to keep things simple and not confusing in the beginning. For now, I have added one FortiGate firewall, one Cisco switch, and one the virtual PC. Virtual PC. Okay, my switch is connected to my firewall, and my virtual PC will be connecting to the switch. The port is Ethernet 0/0. So I need one router, internet router. So basically this cloud is act as an internet router for my FortiGate firewall. Okay, so let me power on all the devices: FortiGate firewall, switch, and the virtual PC. Okay, so basically when you power on firewall for the first time and connect via console, so there is a default username which is admin, and there is no default password. So you just hit enter, the firewall will be pop up with the new password. Okay, so right now my firewall is booting up. Let it boot. I'll pause the video till that. Okay, so my firewall has been booted. So as I said already, there is a default username which is admin and no password. You just hit enter. Okay, the new password is admin and admin. Okay, so the basically what happens is in the port 1 in the firewall, the DHCP client is already been enabled by default. So I have connected my internet to the port 2. So what I will do is I'll enable the DHCP client on the port 2 via console, and also the HTTP and HTTPS to access through the GUI. Okay, so let me go back to my firewall console. Okay, so this port has been connected to my internet router. Configure system interface, edit port 2, set IP, set mode DHCP, set allow access. I need HTTPS, HTTP, and ping. Set status is up, and next, and okay, so let me check whether my interface has received the IP address. Show system interface question mark, not yet. Yes, I have got the IP address 192.168.126.140. Okay, so I'll go to the Chrome and copy paste this IP. So the username we have already created admin, and the password also admin. Okay, so it is closed. Okay, so basically when you log in the firewall for the first time through the GUI, so you will land on the dashboard page. Dashboard basically says about the system information, CPU, how much CPU has been utilized, the memory utilization, and the licensing if you have the UTM license, and the FortiGate cloud. So virtual machine is basically the firewall has two types. One is hardware and the virtual machine. So if you have the hardware, so it will show you the UTM license, everything. Since it is the virtual machine, we should have the license for the CPU, RAM, and the interface. Okay, so you can add the more widget here for the HA if you want the IPsec, DSCP. Since this class is focused more on the interface, so let me get into the interface page. Okay, so you can able to see multiple columns on the interface page. These columns says about the visibility or the it is says about the physical interface name or the type or the member. Okay, so basically port 1, the name says it's just a alias name. You can provide any management name to the interface. The type, there are different type of the interface. One, we have the physical interface, we have virtual interface which is VLAN, we have loopback, and we have software switch. All those different type of the interface, the type will be visible in the visible in the this column, the type column. Okay, the member is the if these interfaces is a group of or the part of any group, that interfaces will be visible under the member column. The IP addresses, we can assign IP addresses to the interfaces, so those IP addresses will be visible under IP/net mask or the subnet mask. The administrative access is the management protocol we assign to the every interface. So basically it can be HTTP, HTTPS, SSH. I have assigned HTTPS and SSH HTTP to the port 1, which I have shown up here. Okay, so these management access or the management protocol can be seen in the administrative access. DSCP client is total number of IP addresses which assigned by my interface will be comes under the DSCP client, and the DSCP range the same as the range of the IP address. Okay, so 1.2 to 1.254. Now let me get back to the lab. So this is my simple lab. So I have already configured, so I have not configured the IP addresses yet. So my system has been connected to the port 1 or the LAN port. Basically the alias name can be any name. The type is the physical interface. The VRF ID 0 is by default. That means this by default 0, which means it is a central routing table. You can make one, so this will be a separate routing table, or the two. This is also the separate routing table and goes on. Basically we use the VRF ID for the VDOM or the virtual DOM or the MPLS. So VDOM is nothing but a virtual domain where your like for example your customer or the business using the same firewall, so that time you can create the multiple VRF ID, because your traffic and the routing table should not be mixed up. Okay, so that is the main use of the VRF ID. Since we are not using any VDOM or the MPLS connection, so let it be a 0, which means the central routing table. So the address mode, there are different type of address mode. Right now we use the manual one, so that means 10.10. We have to provide the IP address. 10.1/24 is my IP for this interface. Okay, the administrative access, here we should be very caution. If any interfaces is facing the internet, should not be able to, we should not enable any administrative access unless it is required. Okay, since it is LAN, for me right now the ping is enough, and I'll disable the rest of the things. Okay, so let me enable the DHCP server on the interface. Whoever connect to this interface should receive the IP address from this physical interface. Okay, 2.20 to 254, net mask is /24, default gateway is same as my interface IP. And the DNS server, if you have any local DNS server, you can add here 10.10.1.11 and one DNS, external DNS server. Okay, so lease time is 60,000. This is fine. Device restriction will be enabled, and this is all about the physical interface configuration. Fine. Now I will go back to my lab. So virtual PC, since virtual PC connected to my switch, and the switch it is connected to my FortiGate firewall. So let me enable the DSCP client here, IP DSCP. Okay, so the DORA process discover, offer, request and acknowledge. I'll receive the IP address from the FortiGate firewall. Can I able to ping the gateway? Yes, I should be able to ping the gateway. This IP is nothing but the FortiGate interface IP, which is port 1 IP. Okay, yes. So there is one more thing we need to check. Can I able to ping the internet? So that we need to check. Can I able to ping? No, because we have not written any policy saying that this interface has to connect to the internet. Okay, let me go back to the firewall. I'll write one policy. Policy will be the separate topic, don't worry. So I'll write one small policy, LAN to WAN. So LAN is my port 1, WAN is nothing but internet is my port 2, source is all, destination is all, and the service is also all. The NAT has to be enabled to access the internet, and this is all enough. I say okay. Now I'll come back to my lab again. Okay, IP, let me ping 8888, which is Google DNS. Yes, I can able to ping. This is all about the physical interface, and thank you so much.